Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is Where Are They Now for January 2022. This is going to be where I take a look at the games I reviewed in January 2022, talking about the games that I haven't played since, talking about the games where the rating has remained the same, and general notes about them, and then of course talking about the handful that the games, the rating, the opinion, in some way something has changed about the game. As usual, these sections will be timestamped, you can go ahead and check them out down below, but starting off with the games I haven't played since. In general, some of these are prototypes, some of these are games that weren't for me and so they left my collection, but that does mean that taking a look back at what's changed for these means nothing has changed. Starting off with Skytear Horde, which I gave a 4 out of 5. That holds up. I'm waiting for Skytear Horde to deliver. It was a prototype. I'm excited for it. I want it. And I'm anticipating the rating might go up when I get the final game, but let's hold off and find out. These Where Are They Now will extend to 2 years back and 3 years back eventually. But from there we have Yucatan. Yucatan was another 4 out of 5. That's a tough one for me because I really enjoyed Yucatan, but it's fighting against games like Kemet and Inish. In fact, Kemet's on the table over here. And so, as a game that's fighting against Kemet, Inish, Cyclades, Blood Rage, all that, a 4 to 5 won't be enough. So ultimately we'll see with the final copy and how it continues to evolve over multiple plays. I wonder if it's going to be in a similar place as Ankh to me, in the sense that it's a really good game that just might not stay because there are better games in the genre. We have Dhampir, which I gave a 3. That was a wine-making Eurogame that I found to be a little too tight to be as enjoyable as I'd like. I gave it a 3 out of 5. We have Micro Dojo. I gave it a 3 out of 5 as well. That's just a smaller game. It's great in terms of the price point and the table space and accessibility and all that stuff, but not as much. Micro games in general are not as much my genre. Certain button shy games do stand out there, but Micro Dojo did not. We have Final Girl, which I give a 3.5 out of 5. I liked a lot of the elements of Final Girl. I particularly like the evolving storytelling that happens as you play the game, but I am not a fan of the mechanic of cascading failure, that as things get worse, they get worse and worse and worse. A few bad rolls in Final Girl can mean the entire game falls apart and does not go your way, and I'm just not as much a fan of that mechanic. We have Wrath of the Lich King, Pandemic Wrath of the Lich King, that I gave a 3 out of 5. I liked it, and honestly, the rating probably should be higher. It's one of those things, it probably should be a 3.5 out of 5. The problem is I'm kind of mentally comparing it to other Pandemic games, and it was one of my least favorite Pandemic games in the systems. It's one that is well liked by many. For me, I just thought that the changes in the theme and all these things, it just didn't do it for me as far as Pandemic games go. I like a lot of the Pandemic system games. Wrath of the Lich King is probably one of my least favorite. We have Suspects that I gave a 3.5 out of 5. This one left only because it's 3 cases, and I did all 3 cases. I enjoyed it. It's one of the better ones in the mystery genre of games that I've played through. For me, I like exit and unlock and escape room style games more than I like detective and mystery games, but I did enjoy Suspects a lot from within that genre. Then we have 10 from AEG. I gave that a 3 out of 5. For me, 10 was okay, but I think other games just do it significantly better in the genre. It's not a game I'll miss. It's not a game I mind playing, but it's not a game I miss. I prefer games like Coloretto, No Thanks, or a dozen others in the genre of a bunch of cards and a punchy set of rules that gives you a great experience. And then we had Awkward Guests. I gave that a 3.5 out of 5. I actually have Scandal that I'm excited to jump into. I want to see where Scandalo goes. I think Awkward Guests did a lot of things that I really liked, but my main complaint against it was that a lot of elements of the game did seem to come down to the luck of what cards you drew or got past and how you could consolidate information. It felt like a very clever deduction system that ultimately could devolve into the luck of what you got versus what other players got. Then from there we have games that stay the same. These are all games that are going to still be in my collection in some way, shape, or form, and they're all games that I have played in the past year, but my rating for them has stayed the same. We have Ghosts of Christmas. I gave it a 4.5. It's still a 4.5. I love the trick-taking that Ghosts of Christmas gives me. I think it's fantastic and very clever, and I thoroughly enjoy playing it. We have Wreck Raiders, which I gave a 4 out of 5. Wreck Raiders from KTBG Games, one of my favorite KTBG games. I really enjoy just the gameplay of it. My kids really enjoy the gameplay of it. It's a 4 to 5 with the caveat that I am taking into account that it is a kid-family game. I'm rating it within the genre of being a kid-family game, but a 4 to 5. We have Ecos, which is over on the table over here. Ecos is one that I'm a little bit on the fence about. It's one that I have continued to play. I gave it a 3.5, and I still hold to that 3.5. I do enjoy it. It's a lighter experience. It is the kind of game that more and more I wonder if it'll show up in a Games Leaving My Collection video over time. It's a game that I do thoroughly enjoy, but doesn't get tabled often. The vast variety of card play going on makes it a good gateway game that I like a lot. I just don't know. I don't know if it gets played enough for it to be one that I hold on to. Like, am I going to choose this over Istanbul, over Five Tribes, over Quacks of Quedlinburg? There's a lot of games in the weight class, and I don't know if Ecos will hold on forever. But for right now, still here. Then we have The Crew Deep Sea. Gave it a 4.5, still holds up. The Crew Deep Sea, fantastic game. I like The Crew. I like The Crew Mission Planet 9 or whatever it is, The Quest for Planet 9. And I like Deep Sea even better than that one. It just gives better gold cards. But ultimately, cooperative trick-taking just really works for me as a genre. Then we have Paris and Expansion. I actually just played this twice this past week. Paris and Expansion, love this game. My favorite DVR title by far. I just love the polyomino puzzle of trying to just mess with your opponent. It is brutal, it is cutthroat, it is mean. Everything about Paris, I love. I love the action selection. I love the variety of the gameplay as you constantly have different actions you can choose and play, different ability tiles effectively. I really enjoy it. It's basically Patchwork if Patchwork were much more brutal and mean than Patchwork currently is. And that's what I have as far as the games that the ratings stayed the same. Now, as far as things that have changed, and as usual, this doesn't necessarily mean a rating change. Sometimes it's just hey, something about it means that I do want to say my opinion in some way has changed. First of all, we have Kemet, which is a big drop over here. Kemet, which was a game that for a long time was always in my top 20. This past year, the top 100 saw it dropping to like 80 out of my top 100. It's gone from a 5 to a 4.5. I don't know what it is about it. Kemet is a game I love and I still adore. It's still top 100 and it's not going anywhere. But it has dropped down for me within the genre of area control, powers and blues and all that. It could be a few games might bring it back because I do love what Kemet does. But it definitely did drop a bit for me. Then from there we have The Key. The Key over here, this is one that is a 4 to 5 and it's still a 4 to 5. This should probably be in the same category as Ecos actually. It probably should both be in the kind of change category. Ecos is one, not Ecos. The Key is one that I just don't really play that much anymore. I played it when I first got it. I played it after review a few times, but I haven't played it in a long time. And it's one that I'm not often compelled to pull out. I think it's a very clever system, and I do recommend it. The rating is not changed. It's still a 4 to 5. But I think it's one that, more like an exit or unlock game, I kind of mentally view it as something that I'll do and then move on from, even though it is replayable, and you'll very quickly forget the cases you covered. So I like the system. I think it's great, but it's one that I'm probably going to play it a few more times here and there, because I haven't played through all the cases, and then eventually consider it one that I move on from, similar to an unlock escape room game. So again, theoretically replayable. You could probably hold on to it and play it forever. I'm probably going to get rid of it after a few more plays. And then lastly, we have Mutants, which Mutants I gave a 3.5, and that one has since left my collection, meaning it stayed around after the review, which is why I haven't played and all that. I continued to play it, it stayed around, but eventually that one did leave. The rating's still a 3.5, nothing changed about it. This is from Lucky Duck Games. I think Mutants has a lot of things that are really solid. I was the One Stop Co-op Shop's one who, I guess, put it on my radar. I played it, I enjoyed it, I like it, I do think very well of it, but I also wasn't getting tabled at a certain point, and it was one of those games that kind of required a specific group of people, and there's lots of games fighting for that time and attention. So ultimately, Mutants left. Good game, really enjoyed it, lots of fun things about it, but I think I have better games in the genre and category. And that's what we have. That's the year. Where are they now? These are the games I covered last year in January 2022. As usual, stay tuned for these videos every single month. Every month I do once a month I do a look back at how things played out in the past month, just so you can get a sense and an idea of how ratings change over time. That this game that I loved has gotten worse. This game that I liked has gotten better. These games have left. These games have stayed. General quick thoughts, notes, and opinions a year later, effectively. So there's more time to settle. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.